DigiRoad 9 Frontier episodes 25 through 27 of the English dub. Last time JP got sucked into a hole. Everyone else went into the hole. They fought some stuff in the hole. And it turns out they're in a much bigger hole. I still don't remember that Digimon's name. That kind of looks like a biblical thing. I don't remember what it is. It's not a seraphim, I don't think, but they're kind of similar looking. A bunch of balls with like mouths on them all connected together in this like golden like diamond-esque shape holding them together. I can't remember its name. I've definitely seen it before in something. So yeah, they're stuck in there. I imagine we're not going to get out in this one, but maybe an attempt will be made. I think by 26 we will be out of it though. And I guess this is the start of the bulk recordings. So that's something. We'll be bulk recording probably, I think, 3 or 4 others. Just because I don't know when I'll be able to do them again. Yeah. DigiRoad. Episode 25 is done. I don't really feel a particular way about this one. It's just, I think this is another case of this episode coming too late into the lineup of things. Like we're already kind of at like the halfway point, right? And I just feel like this should have been like way earlier on in the series. I get the point of it is supposed to be like bringing up their inner insecurities. They can see like their soul. So even if they know it's not true, that's just how they feel, right? That's how it works sometimes. Sometimes insecurities or inner feelings don't reflect reality at all, or actually reflect our progress, but we still have to deal with them. It's coming after Tommy already realized he wanted to do stuff on his own and not be babied anymore, and already feeling like he has true friends. And this is coming after Koji has already connected with the group of people, and him and Takuya have kind of squashed their little squabble that they were having. So it's just strange timing. It feels like we're going backwards again, and it feels redundant. Like I don't feel like we've learned anything new about the characters that has helped like understand them more, or it's helped the characterization. It was already obvious that Tommy was probably spoiled. Well, I guess it's confirmed now, but you could already kind of guess that he was maybe spoiled and that he was babied based off of prior conversations he has had before. But I don't know. This was just like, again, I get the point. I just don't really feel like it was necessary. His brother also could have done stuff in a nicer way, right? I think with those kind of issues where it's like, oh, it's being baby too much, or people are doing too much for you, and you're not appreciative of what they actually give. A lot of that stuff you should probably just talk to the parent about, because he's a kid, so he doesn't realize. Most of the time, they'll realize with time or with being told, like, hey, you should appreciate this more and giving less. Just calling him like a spoiled brat and saying you have no real friends, or you're going to be a lot happier if you didn't do this thing. It's like, or leaving him alone in a park walking away. That's not showing him what you mean. That's just a dick move. So even if he was in the right, he could have done it in a much better way. And then Tommy's comment, like, what was it? Like, I guess it's hard knowing mom loves me more. It was something like that. Which, again, the point is supposed to be, well, Tommy's spoiled brat and he doesn't realize what his brother's actually trying to tell him. But I feel like all it did was, like, it felt like a stretch having Tommy say that. It doesn't feel like he's, like, bratty enough or, like, assertive enough to really say that or even really think that. Because he kind of had a very low self-worth or esteem. So, I don't know. It felt weird that this element was added in. It feels like weird characterization for Tommy. And again, it's something that he doesn't like, and he's like, oh, I realized now I'll move past it. It's just, it fell out of character. It felt really weird. I don't think it really added anything either, because again, it's instantly moved past. And then with Koji, again, feeding on his insecurities about connections with people, but it's late because it's already happened. He already has friends, so them saying, you have no friends, you have no family. He's like, I don't need friends or family, but you already have friends. You already made the connection with them. Again, it feels like we're moving backwards. Sometimes that does happen with reality, as in progress is being made, and then something pushes you to go back to prior ways. But again, when we are halfway through, it feels, especially when not only are we halfway through, but it wasn't that long ago that he was kind of still a bit cut off from people. So it's weird timing for it, I think. It's just very, very strange. Especially when he went on a whole speech against Takuya about how important people's lives were and how you shouldn't just see this all as a game. So it was obvious that he actually cared about people. So I don't know. This is just, again, I think poorly timed episode. This should have came much earlier on. I understand the point. I understand what he was trying to get at, and I understand why we're revisiting the themes. But again, it did not need to happen this late into the series. I think, especially after things that have already happened. If like things weren't already tackled before, I'd be okay with it. But we had stuff tackled like not even like 10 episodes ago. It's just weird. Just really weird in my opinion. I guess the only other thing I have to say is Takuya wasn't in it at all. Like I don't even think that they showed him. And Asuramon kind of didn't have a crack, so his ass kind of looked like one big ass. A singular mound of ass. And that was pretty fascinating. DigiRoad. Okay, so episode 26 is done now. I have mixed feelings about this one too. I think to start off with before a certain part, it would be mostly positive. I feel like this was a pretty refreshing episode. Way more color in it, way more comedic relief, which has been missing from like the past few. Of course, it had minor moments of it, but this was way more focused on like comedic and lighthearted, mostly because Ranamon and her fan club returning, although it's not the Toucan Mons this time, it's Honeybee Mons, which I don't think I've ever seen them before, by the way. I know a lot of Digimon. I've seen a lot of Digimon. The animes before this, manga I've read, games, virtual pets. I don't think I've ever seen Honeybee Mon. The design's cute. I do not remember them from anything else. But yeah, nice change of pace. Good comedic relief again. More on the lighthearted side, feel-wise for this one. It was kind of funny seeing them rush through JP, beating, I guess, like the guard of whatever eyeball he was a part of, because they already did his plot thing in the previous episode before this one. So they just kind of rushed through. It felt like redundant, even having him fight, because he just went through a whole thing, and everyone else is kind of having character moments. So even having him have to do a fight again, it was kind of like he should have just been on the outside after his last one, to be honest. And I love Parrotmon, so seeing him again was pretty awesome. I feel like we haven't seen him since what? Isn't there like a brief moment of him being there in 02, I think? But yeah, really cool to see him again, because he does not show up in a lot of stuff, really, despite being, one of the first you ever see anime-wise, right? With the adventure movie, the short. And this made sense for Zoe, unlike the past two, where I feel like that they felt kind of redundant, as I had said before, where it's like, this feels like we're exploring themes we've already explored prior, and I feel like we already kind of had a good understanding of them. It didn't feel like it really changed that dynamic of it at all, like how you kind of thought of it, or even really how the characters thought much. This feels like actually something new, because we didn't really explore much of the bullying that Zoe faced. It seemed like it was more so kind of in her head, and she was distancing herself, and it was kind of her own issues. But this seems like there was also actual discrimination based off of her ethnic background, right? Which I'm assuming, I think it was probably mentioned she's half Italian. I don't think she's full on, but I think half, or she at least was in Italy. So she keeps saying pizza and pasta and shit in the top. Like stuff like that, like, oh, ravioli. She doesn't actually say, so she says like buongiorno. Yeah. That was actually able to see that in like more in depth about how it makes her feel isolated and then lash out against others. Again, actually new stuff and refreshing. Instead of it feeling like it's purely on her for like, oh, it's all in her own head stuff. This actually shows, oh no, it was real. Because I remember before when they showed it, it kind of seemed like she was cold and cutting herself off from others, and it wasn't really on them. But that's about the end of the praise, because they decided to kill off Ranamon, which is just a really confusing choice, because Mercurymon has had very little characterization up to this point, and he's a more serious character compared to Ranamon being comedic. So that means all the comedic villains are dead now. So I guess they're gonna have to introduce new ones, or we're gonna be missing a lot of comedic, relief, which again I think was really needed because I feel like the last two episodes kind of dragged, especially because they didn't have Bokomon or the other long neck guy who I fucking forget the name of, but they've had very little involvement in like past two, maybe even three episodes. No, past two, and then also in this one, very little screen time at all. The Honey Beemons are with us now, and that was kind of nice seeing them be part of Zoe's fan club because it feels like it was a missed opportunity prior with the Toucanmons that they weren't joining Zoe to be like her little fan club at all. So they're doing it now with the Honey Beemons, so they're fixing a past mistake. So I guess they'll be the comedic relief for a bit, but I feel like it's not the same as a main villain really. Like they're on our side, so I don't know. I feel like this was a bad decision. Ranamon probably should have been eliminated a bit later on in, I feel. Of course, I could be wrong. Maybe another comedic villain joins the fray. I just doubt it. There's also a chance that Mercurymon moves down the ladder and becomes more comedic for like plot convenience for Cherubimon being introduced and everything. I just don't know how I feel about the decision. I'm very, very mixed on it. And Zoe had to use her own catchphrase against her. She told her, "See ya, sugar." Come on. I feel like we got actually really little of Ranamon in this, which is a shame because I think the voice actress is very, very memorable. And she, every single time she was on screen, instantly drawn to the segment, I feel like it just was not a good choice. Again, I could be wrong, though. Next episode could well, it's probably not going to be the next episode that a new comedic villain joins, but there's a chance, we get other comedic relief in like other ways. I don't know. I just feel like that was a missed opportunity. Maybe they realized that the one gag of her knocking herself away wasn't going to work again because they didn't actually do it again after I said, I don't think it's going to fly again. Like it'll feel overdone. So they just thought, let's just kill her then. Mercurymon obviously has more nefarious motivations, as you could kind of expect. You could kind of guess that before, but maybe they're even more nefarious than we thought. He wants to kill all women, maybe. Maybe that's the route he's going. Because he wanted Ranamon out of his way, so he didn't care if she died. But if Zoe died too, then again, that's another woman out of his hair, so something to think about. Mercurymon putting the two women against each other. I'm just saying. DigiRoad. And episode 27 is done with. I thought this was a good episode. It left a lot of questions, which is a good thing. Obviously, it makes me want to watch the others, which going to be bulk recording, so that's perfect for. I had almost forgotten about Duskmon before this one because he's been gone for a while, and I guess a part of me just assumed like they were in like the darkness formed by Duskmon, or Duskmon became that thing, which I forget the name of the Digimon again. Like Sakakumon or something. I just assumed that he became that. But I should have realized it was Mercurymon, as Bokomon said, because it makes sense perfectly. He shows up there. He's moving between. He was saying, like, this is perfect, like my plan, coming to fruition either way. And it's seen like the mirrors, right? Looking in, mirror, reflection of their like inner soul. It's literally right there. I don't know how I didn't realize it. He is literally a mirror, so it makes perfect sense. I don't know how I did not realize sooner. And then again, I assume it's his brother, but he doesn't, because he met with Duskmon. They fought. He didn't recognize him though when he saw like the reflection inside. He's just like, oh, that's another little boy. But he doesn't recognize him. So is it not his brother? Because if he had like a half brother from his stepmom or whatever, he would know. So I wonder if it has to do with how his mother died. Maybe his mother died trying to save a boy, so they're not blood related, but they have that connection. And he's been looking for this boy, maybe like, oh, I'm sorry, your mom died trying to save my life, so that's why I wanted to find you and apologize, that kind of thing. Because he feels some kind of guilt for it because he took someone's mother away, right? It could be that. It could also be maybe his mom died giving birth to him, so they are brothers. He just didn't know about him. But then I don't know why the father would hide that. So it's probably something like that, where Koji's mom died saving a kid, from a terrible fate, right? Some kind of terrible tragedy from happening to him, maybe a drowning or something. And then that's why he was chasing down Koji, because he was trying to find him, because he wanted to like apologize for his mother's death. That's what I can think of, because I feel like they can't be related at this point. There's just nothing that would make sense for it. I think it was a trick to make you think they were related. But also, Takuya literally says, "Oh, it's two Kojis." But it could be his mom, Koji's mom, saved the boy because it reminded her of her son. I don't know. It could. I have no idea. His dad also doesn't really look like him, so maybe his dad isn't his dad, and then his mom died, but he doesn't know his dad isn't his dad. And it was some other guy previously that she had been with, but then split from. I don't know. It could get complicated. It could get messy. But it was nice seeing more of Koji's like backstory and background and stuff, and left us with a lot of questions in a good way to kind of learn more later on. Because yeah, the stuff with Tommy and JP felt very redundant. Kind of already done that stuff before. I feel like we did not need it at all. Zoe and Koji, very refreshing. I think this is very well done, very good. And the egg finally hatched too. Well, it didn't hatch, but it grew a symbol on it, and it can now gift abilities. The Digi Egg. And now Koji can like jogress his two evolutions, the spirit, the beast spirit, and then the whatever they call the other spirit. That's not the beast spirit. I can't remember what it is. Is it just hero spirit, beast spirit? I can't remember. But yeah, them being combined is pretty cool. I think though, Beowulfmon is kind of lackluster. I was expecting something way cooler, and it's just, I feel like it's just kind of more of the same. Really good episode though, and yeah, great way to end it because it makes me want to watch more. Leaves a lot of questions. And I guess now we're going to have Takuya in the next one try to escape. Whatever the hell it's called that he's in. Sakasaki-mon? Like, I don't remember, man. And then he'll have to fight Mercurymon, I imagine, afterwards, and the group will as well. We'll probably see the end of Mercurymon, I imagine, in 28. I think he's just dead, or 29, maybe. But I think definitely in the next Frontier, DigiRoad, he's a goner. Why did I specify the next Frontier, DigiRoad? Guess we'll have to find out. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, smirk, smirk. Other things that allude to something that I'm in the know of, that I'm hinting at. And I guess going back to the previous episode, one with Zoe, just a further thought on that really quick. For the time this was released, this was like probably pretty relevant with, again, Zoe being of mixed ethnicity, or again, maybe full Italian, just living in Japan. I think she's supposed to be mixed, though. Pretty relevant for the times because there was a lot of discrimination early 2000s with that stuff. Obviously, before then, there would have been a lot, but a lot with non-full Japanese citizens. There still is today, like really pretty badly. You hear about it a lot from anyone that is like half in Japan, because they see them as, well, no, if you're half, then you're not Japanese. That's how a lot of them see them, unfortunately. So for the time this was released, again, like, when was this, 2003? 2004, maybe? This would have been, like, pretty relevant, like, and ahead of its time, I guess, for talking about that kind of issues, which Digimon always has, like, not been afraid of tackling stuff that's actually affecting kids. So that's a pretty cool thing, and it makes it feel like more real. And I imagine there was probably some kids that were also of like mixed ethnicity around that time that could like really relate to that stuff. So yeah, just a little more thoughts there. Just kind of an interesting thing to think about, because again, it still is a thing now, unfortunately, but it's not as bad as it would have been in the early 2000s.